Charles, if you don't mind my asking, you're a relatively new parishioner at St. Nicholas. Can you give us some of your background history, where you came from?
Sure. Well, I'm a Latin Rite Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't start out that way. But let's see. When I was young, my parents took me to Sunday school, and I learned about Jesus and about the Bible. I was baptized at age 12. It was all in my head, ideas, concepts. Really, I didn't know him, and it just didn't penetrate very deeply into my life. Well, I look at, I'm 60 now. I look back on my life, and my whole life is sort of God pounding and breaking up on this hard, sterile, dry soil, and sort of softening me. On my side, I've learned to know Christ as a Savior, as a person, and more than an idea. And it's a mystery to me how God has done that. I don't fully understand it. I've made many, many mistakes in my life, fallen many, many times. And I don't think my sins, my mistakes are all that unusual. And they're nothing stellar or spectacular, but I've fallen many, many times. And somehow, through each experience, God has come closer to me, brought me closer to Him. And I would say, it's one thing to learn about Jesus. You can learn about Jesus from books, from classes and lectures. But really there's two things. There's living life and praying about it. And there's the life of the church. Jesus says that wherever two or three are gathered in my name, I'm there also. Mm-hmm. And the church is where we learn to pray, and where Jesus tells us we can find Him. Through all my mistakes, I've been drawn back again and again by some feeling, some power, back into His church. That's 50 years of my life summed up in a few moments. And so here I am, a member, a Latin Rite Catholic in a Byzantine Catholic parish.
How was it you found your way to St. Nicholas, the Byzantine Rite?
Well, my next door neighbor, came back to the church near the end of his life. And he suggested I go with him some Saturday afternoon at 5. And I never did. Mm-hmm. I was always in the back of my mind because I knew some things. Never did it. And he died fairly suddenly. I went to his funeral here. And
was that at St. Nicholas?
It was at St. Nicholas, yes.
Okay.
That was Mike Federanich.
Oh, okay, yes.
So for many years he was away from the church and came back near the end of his life. And he was my neighbor. And so I came, and then I came on Sunday and became enthralled by the Byzantine Rite. Some things I can say, I consider myself Byzantine at heart. Right? On paper, I'm a Latin Catholic. But I would say we Byzantines worship in our Sunday liturgies, we worship with every aspect of what we do. The music is not incidental. It's a key element of the divine liturgy. In fact, I can't even conceive of celebrating the divine liturgy without singing as much of it as you possibly can. And I think that's particularly important for me, and that's why I've gotten involved with cantoring, because the music helps me connect my feelings at the deepest parts of me with the words that I'm singing. And it's much, much different from just saying words.
Singing gives you more of an involvement, you feel.
Yeah, your body vibrates with the words.
Right.
And St. Augustine talks about the person who sings prays twice. And, for me, I think that's an understatement. And there are other aspects of the Byzantine rite that are important to me. The layout of the church, the icons, the way the church is laid out is deliberate and planned. It's not a casual thing,
Mm-hmm.
like the music.
Right.
The music is integral. It's not something we add into the service to make us feel good or because we like it.
It's all part of the service.
It's an integral part of the prayer, as is the incense, as are the icons, behind the altar in a typical Byzantine church, there's the icon of the sign. Mary her hands are raised in prayer, and the icon of Jesus, as kind of a boy, maybe 12 years old, is sort of right in front of her. And I can't say what the icon means, but what it means to me is we're coming into church and Mary is gathering all of her children in heaven and on earth,
right,
together around her son in prayer. Okay? And that icon is very, very common in a Byzantine church, almost sort of an essential part of it. And when you come into a Byzantine church, sort of, you know what to expect. I mean,
right.
the tradition sort of it tells us what a church should look like, how it should be laid out. The service is conducted behind an icon screen called an iconostas, and it serves a very important purpose. To my mind, again, I don't know what the official purpose is, but for me, the iconostas, kind of like a wall with doors or a barrier with doors, is telling you that what's happening is not a man in funny clothes waving a censer around and people singing strange music and bowing and scraping and lifting bread and wine. What is really happening in the divine liturgy is we are raised up to heaven.
Right.
The saints, the angels join us. And Christ the King comes to be with his people. It's the wedding banquet of the Lamb. And if we think about a priest reading out of a book or doing this or that, the details that we see can be a distraction from what the reality is that's going on. So the icon screen is a way of helping us to focus on what is really happening and not the nitty-gritty stuff that the priest is doing at the altar.
Mm-hmm.
So,
very interesting. Your
next
explanation of everything. So you have a great love for music, and you're involved in the choir?
I am. My only training with music is I was in the church choir for 3 years. 4th, 5th, and 6th grade until my voice changed.
In the Latin church?
Yeah, well, actually it was in a Methodist church that I grew up in, right?
Okay.